afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Sunday, September 22, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. I'm doing a PAO webinar at it's 3 p.m. Eastern today. When we have a lot of energies, because everything's energy, layered upon layer upon layer, forming different things. And if you look at the civilization from an observer standpoint, you see all of this erratic frequencies hopping and jumping all over the place, popping around. And when most people have a tendency to embrace the negative, then of course for them more negative comes. If you give any attention, and this is where the challenge is for any of us, if you give any attention or you focus on it too long, you're literally creating more of it for yourself. And a lot of people go, well, how can that be? You know, maybe over here it's happening differently and over here, but how come for me I'm having all of these occurrences happen or interactions? Believe it or not, we've been programmed to gravitate towards negativity. Not in the way you might think, where if someone's talking to you about things and you're looking at them and you're going, oh wow, this stuff's just too negative, I don't care to hear about it. Not that way. It's with our ego minds that we weave and create and manifest more of the same, since we're embracing it and don't know it because we're in the habit of embracing it. So it gets a little confusing for us. You know, so people say, why is this happening to me? And why is this happening to me? And if they don't have enough trust, faith, and confidence in themselves in this universe, they won't understand that they're the ones that are creating it. For a moment, from an observation perspective, imagine if everyone, or the majority, it was flipped, let's say it was flipped, that the majority were aware and they were focused on things in a positive direction for themselves, for their lives. And that's what they focused on. Now, any of the distractions or negative occurrences that happen to people, even though they know those are there, they abstain from it. They've chosen to say, and not ignoring it at all, not running from it, but they choose to say, you know, that's okay, that's happening, but I'm not going to give that any fuel and bring that into my life. I'm going to concentrate on what I want. I know I'm an omnipotently powerful supreme being in this body. I know I'm pure consciousness. I'm beyond the mind, beyond the ego, beyond the body, beyond it all. I'm the one behind it. So if you take it from an observation perspective, so not immediately, because it's still a tremendous pull deep-seated in all of us through our programming. So that's where the challenge comes in, because the ego mind will say to you, no, this is the way it's supposed to be. You know, you're not going to change this. This stuff's happening to you, and it's happening to all these other people, and that's the way it's going to be. And then, you know, you have the insecurity and the fear and the worry and the stress. Now, if you take someone who's decided, okay, I know that's there, you embrace it, let it pass through you. But then your direction is totally different. Your direction is that this is all about me. And remember, that's through the heart mind, not the ego mind. And I determine my direction. I determine my life. That's a big twist. because we've been trained the opposite way, that your life has already been predestined and laid out for you. Now that's, in a way, true, because for you is coming from you. So imagine if you've been programmed for thousands and thousands and thousands of years in a material physical world, and you believe all that's being presented to you, and maybe it's not too flavorful, you begin to believe that that's just the way it is. And you accept it. It's not negative, but that's what you do, because it's what you have stored in your so-called database, or people call it the Akashic Records, or the Grand Library. Whatever you may label it, all of the information that you have ever experienced throughout all your lifetimes is there. It's right there. And depending on your surroundings, so if you look at your surroundings, whatever's going on in your surroundings, you created it from within. So if you're in a distorted emotional state where things they just don't seem acceptable, but yet you go with it because you feel that that's just the way things are, then you'll create more, not from within, shall be without. So whatever is going on within you, you're creating outside of you. And that happens to so many of us. Are we cognizant to that? No. And because of all of this, our confidence, faith, and trust in ourselves is not good. We doubt ourselves, we're hard on ourselves, criticize ourselves, and then again we start doing that with others around us. And when you look at the fact that all suffering comes from a track of awareness of our divinity, all suffering for any of us comes from a lack of awareness of our divinity. In other words, not knowing really truly who and what you are in that body. And once we stop forgetting our eternal abundant nature, we begin stepping forward into a life overflowing with synchronicity, ease, grace, love, and knowing our divine unlimited nature, and waking up as simple and easy as remembering that the sun is always on, always bright, and always shining somewhere. And who we truly are through all this, which never changes, and you know that who you are, who you truly are, is already awake, enlightened, loving, and free. That is kind of strange, because we spend most of our lives outside of ourselves. Our spiritual evolution stays because we don't embrace it. And when it comes down to it, all of us already have everything we need inside of us. That's a fact. To experience all the love and joy and happiness we could ever desire, all efforting to get anywhere better than here, is simply divine misguidance. This universe is already amazing. You are already amazing. And this moment is totally amazing. By sitting in awe of this amazingness that is already here now, we wake up to the spiritual immensity of our being. And we suddenly stop playing small, end all of our suffering, and continuously step into the vastness of our totality. The pathway into enlightenment is a perpetual journey into the now. Perpetual into the now. Now, it's wonderful, at the same time treacherous. It really boils down to getting to know ourselves very, very, very intimately, gently, and spiritually. This is part of our spiritual evolution. It's a big part. When we break free from the hard, cold, calculating mind, we realize who we truly are is love itself. You ever wonder, as you're observing things, why everything has been so, in this game, this is a massive game, by the way, going on, why everything seems to be always directed into the realm of separation, always directed to the ego mind of judging ourselves, judging others, criticizing ourselves and others. And when you view that, you begin to comprehend that these frequencies and energies are all generated from the ego mind that push us in the opposite direction of our spirituality. That's what it's always been about. When you step away from the ego mind and you're in an observation position, you'll see this without judgment, without fear, without anger. And you'll see it as clear as a bell. Some of us are beginning on the outer fringes to discover this. And then we stop efforting. We stop all of our efforting to get anywhere better than here. Many of us have been taught and programmed through generations lacking. You're lacking something, Bill or Mary. There's just something lacking. There's something lacking in me. Nothing, absolutely nothing is lacking in you or any one of us. You cannot be improved upon. People will try to improve you. Those who try to improve you are destroying you, and they are the real mischief makers. There are so many improvers in this world. That's why this world is in such a chaos. There are too many people trying to improve you. Do not allow anybody to improve you. You are already the last word. You're not only the Alpha, you're also the Omega. Also, you are whole, complete, and perfect. That's the truth. Now, many people don't feel too comfortable when someone conveys that to them, with them. Get uncomfortable. The belief mechanism isn't there. It sounds silly or fearful. And this is, even if you feel imperfect, that imperfection is perfect. Do not even worry about it. It will look strange to others if you say that your imperfection is also perfect and nothing is lacking in you. Yet, the fact is that you and all of us appear imperfect, not because we are imperfect, but because we are a growing perfection. We think perfection cannot evolve, because what we mean by perfection is that which has come to its last growth. This definition of perfection is dead. God is perfect because God lacks nothing, okay? God goes on growing from one perfection to another. The growth continues. God is evolution. Not moving from imperfection to perfection, but from perfection to more perfection to more perfection and still more perfection. Osho. See, through this hard pressing with this species, this civilization on this planet, throughout the ages, we feel that we are not perfect. Saying you're perfect, oh, that's an arrogant, egotistical statement. See, that's how we've been trained to believe. You, whether you know it or accept it or embrace it or not, are God. What is inside of you is God, pure consciousness. Beyond all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond forever. That's the true fact. You are the kingdom of God. You are the heaven. You're the whole show and beyond. And it's your decision. So one might say, well, how in the heck am I going to know that or believe that? I don't have anything that I can look at that's going to support that. So this is just words. When you decide to go within and not stop going within, you will discover that this is absolutely fact. And this is what we're doing. Now, some of us have taken a long time to get to this point. Others aren't there yet. But they will be in their own time. The celebration for you is to actually discover that you are. You're not going to be. You already are. And if you feel kind of like it's foggy or you're not really embracing it because you're not too sure about it or you're uncomfortable with it, and some people say, well, I'm uncomfortable with it, so it's not true. You keep embracing it. And you keep practicing going into the now. And one might say, well, okay, so say someone discovers this, embraces it, 100%, they have 100% confidence, faith, and trust in themselves and this universe. And look at all this chaos around everything. How in the heck is their life going to be any different than that chaos out there? Because they begin focusing on the life they want. From the heart mind, not the ego mind. And then they discover that the ego mind is only there for them to master it. That's a whole different ballgame. And I know for many of us, it isn't what you'd call a cakewalk. Because there's a lot of unknowns when we begin to go into ourselves and actually embrace ourselves and truly, intimately love ourselves, which many of us have never done. It's like if you've never driven a car, right? And all of a sudden someone says, okay, get in the front seat and drive it. Are you going to have confidence in that? Probably not. Are you going to be fearful? Yes. Now, others will say, I'll learn to do this. I can do this. I'll learn to do it. And they do. An omnipotently supreme, powerful being that never dies. Say that to yourself. What does that mean? You're all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. That's it. All this stuff is a game. It's a massive, massive, massive game. And if you aren't on the path to tune yourself to the God you are, then that game is going to seem like real life. And no one will be able to say that it isn't, because in your eyes, that's real life. All this other stuff is a bunch of marshmallows. But as you acclimate yourself and you embrace every aspect of you, good parts, bad parts, in between parts, all of it, fully embrace it, love it, be in gratitude of it, then things are going to shift. You're not going to gravitate towards the lower or the negative frequencies. See, because when we do, we're creators. And when we allow ourselves to do that, we create it. How can you explain to two people? One seems to really not have a lot of severe negativities happening and upheavals and sadness and depression, okay? The other one, totally the opposite. Worried, stress, and fear, walking along, right? And you say, I'm not going to go down that alley because I'll get mugged. The other one doesn't even care about it. It doesn't even have an effect on them. Others seem to have like easy lives, right? In your eyes. Because it's how they think. That's it. How you think is crucial on how you live this life. Now, if you're convinced of certain things and happenings around you, you're going to live that life. No ifs, ands, buts about it. But if you begin to say to yourself, no reason for me to live this kind of life. I know I've created it. I'm okay with that. But I don't care to have that life. I care to have this life. Now, it is challenging. It takes every ounce of courage that any of us can ever muster up. But after a while, you're acclimated to it. And everything changes. It always has. We create these illusions around us to experience. So if you choose the bumpiness and the really catastrophic things at times, you choose, that's what you're going to have. Most of us don't recognize that. We don't comprehend that because we don't know who and what we are. We spend our time out there, and there's no argument about that because you observe the civilization. That's exactly what's going on and has been for a very long time. Now, when something with some of us happens, It's not something that you're, oh, okay, this is going to happen. It just happens. Could be anything. But it happens particularly for you that maybe you're going to stop for a moment and start wondering. You're going to say, wait a minute here. This is not what I want. You begin to embrace the power of who you truly are. See? There is no reason whatsoever why any of us should not be living a joyous life, period. Where chaos and havoc and situations disappear. And when you come around it, that's not hard to do. We all agree with that right now. When you come around it, you're not in it. Even though it's there, okay, even though you may have been in it, you're just not interested in being in it. As you watch others, they're in it, and you can see that. They haven't discovered that they don't have to be in it. And one might say, okay, so the God that we are, the pure consciousness, is divine perfection. It's the only thing that's real, and it's the only thing that doesn't change. That's right. Well then, why do we have to keep experiencing and learning then? If we're this divine perfection that never changes, because we evolved to other levels of divine perfection. We do that by creating our own experiences, by creating our surroundings, however they may be. You can picture yourself as this magnificent bright light of pure, deep, eternal love, joy, bliss, peace, benevolence, omnipotently powerful. And you can see waves emanating from you all the time, all the time. It's not like once in a while. It's all the time. Now, those waves can be blissful, joyous, and happy because it affects others around you. Or they can be distasteful, disruptive, and irritating. So isn't it interesting that we inherit an ego mind in these bodies, and then the ego mind controls us, and the reason it controls us is because we don't know that we are actually the God, the pure consciousness, that's beyond all of that. Pretty ironic. We really don't know what we're doing. We're doing, but we don't know what we're doing. And we're confused because we don't know who and what we are. So it's like this omnipotently powerful being that has no memory. It's disconnected figuratively from you and you from it. So you embrace the physical material world and you live that world and you live that life and you leave that life and you do that over and over again. We've heard this, throughout our generations on this planet for a long time. But we've been taught to believe that love is a romantic thing, right? That two people in love, we've identified only that love. And that truly is a love. It's wonderful. But the love that we are is way, way, way beyond that. You begin to, through observation, remember, we're watching and observing, we're not judging. You see things that have taken place on this planet with the civilization. You see why so many of us are disjointed. Why love is there, we can see the love, but it's kind of dim. It's there, but it's dim. When our loving, sensual heart energy is welcomed, expected and encouraged by our community, we have that little something extra to look forward to that can make us jump out of bed with joy. And the more we practice being a sensually alive human being, the more it gives others permission to do the same. Anger, confrontation, hate. Most of what's happening on this planet, those who participate in it have no clue what it is or for what reason they're doing it. Zero. None at all. They just do it. Lower dark matter frequencies have done everything that they can to eliminate love. That can't take place. Because, isn't it funny? Everything is love. Even people that are angry and frustrated, want to do bad things, we like to call that love under pressure. And on this planet, and I'm sure that those of us who are watching and observing, sex right now is one of the most provocative, emotionally stirring, morally challenging, and deeply wounded topics we can explore. It was never meant to be that way. We have this enormous sexually wounded monster that is unconsciously ruling our lives, accepting that our sensual and spiritual connection come from the same source of energy at the first step on this journey. When we become more aware, we become more sensitive. And with a higher sensitivity, we cannot allow trauma, shame, aggression, or suppression to occur to anyone. A truly sensitive being is only interested in freedom, enlightenment, love, and enjoying the pleasure of their own sexual and sensual energy flowing through them right now. What we watch is suppression of our emotions and feelings through the human psyche, which we call the society on this planet. So when all of that is suppressed on a continual basis, it's like a pressure cooker. Whether people know it or not, there is a huge amount of suppressed sexual energy with everyone believes in normal becomes the next taboo as we become truly conscious beings who are liberating ourselves from the mass social sensual slavery. You see, we've been, and we know these bodies are highly emotional that we're in. And it's like a pressure cooker. Things just keep getting suppressed and twisted and misdirected and misguided, mistaught. You know, the knowledge base is in such disarray. Our belief mechanisms are so in disarray. But the long-term karmic planet on a karmic planetary level, the really good news is that this sexual repressed insanity is destined to change. With enough time, the great pendulum of life always swings back on its own accord. The collective consciousness gets smarter and evolves a little bit after every generation. As the masses become more globally aware and educated, they become more curious, explorative, yearn to experience new thought patterns, expanded social rules, and soon develop a completely new paradigm to live in. What was once religiously forbidden soon becomes yesterday's news as the sensually repressed society suddenly awakens and expands beyond its limits and boundaries. And believe it or not, at some point in the future, there will come a day when the entire education system will wake up and start teaching all the children how to embrace, express, and allow their kundalini energy to move through. And when the system realizes the power of the kundalini for healing, manifesting, creating spiritual connection, they'll know it's essential for the mental, emotional, and physical health of our entire species. When every adolescent in our school systems is taking Tantra classes, learning how to become a healthy parent, how to meditate and quiet the mind, how to heal their body through multiple orgasmic energy, you'll find teenagers and adults blossoming in future generations with real confidence, emotional maturity, spiritual connection, and real inner peace. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close this out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into your body, and focus on your breath rising and falling. There is no suffering when there is no attachment to the thoughts, feelings, the body, or to your mind. When you see that the mind is your friend, your number one vehicle that takes you from one experience to another, you stop treating it like a dumb soldier or slave. As you respect the mind and the life stream that is floating behind it, you see that there is only divine peace, lightness, and oneness to be found. Watch the mind as you relax your body. Drop into the most profound restful feeling you have ever had in your life, and notice how your mind behaves. Just notice. Do not judge. Just watch this amazingly powerful machine go to work. Most amazing things start happening when the mind is completely at ease. And trust is the greatest guru. There is no need for any enlightened teacher or advanced guru when you've mastered the vibration of trust. You become the living master, the one who chooses your ultimate destiny in this life, no matter where you are and who you are with. Discover the great trust for yourself today by simply relaxing into your entire body. Release any form of tension that you find. All tension is some form of mistrust. When there are no more residual, non-trusting holding patterns left inside you, the most gentle yet powerful flood of vibrant creative energy will come pouring through. When you're surrendered, your ego to 100% trust in this life, the deepest relaxation, the sweet feeling of serenity will naturally heal all the protection still inside your heart. This light, easy feeling is so powerful that it can feel like your heart is radiating like the sun. Let your inner lightness be your ultimate guide, and know that it will always show you the easiest, most trusting path home. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, the following morning. We'll return here Monday, September 23, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on outside of you or inside of you. Open your heart. Allow the magic to flow in.